Oh, and Dory just arrived. She's from Tucson, Arizona. There you go. So that's, yeah, there'll be more and more people arrive. So, and they keep coming. Liliana's from Redlands, California. So
nice.
I know all my peeps. So anyway,
I love it.
This is June's Inner Circle, a week late and 3 hours on top of what we normally do, but that's okay because it was worth it. Because I was trying to line up my dear friend Jen Herman from Jen's Trends @ and we're here today to talk Instagram. We don't have anything specifically lined up like a PowerPoint or anything. Jen lives in the absolute, pulse of Instagram. So anything that changes, Mark Zuckerberg calls her up, says, Jen, what do you think? They have a chat. It rolls out. I mean, it's awesome.
I really wish I had that bat phone. Trust me, I've wanted that bat phone for years.
Well, to me, like you and Mari Smith, I mean, yeah. Anyway, you're right up there with all my heroes. And I followed Jen for a number of years, and finally in March at Social Media Marketing World, we got to actually have a real in-life hug, and we did a shoofy.
It was amazing.
It was a lot of fun, and I've been very grateful that Jen has been a great friend of ours and a great mentor, and has given me lots of advice. And every so often, I give her one of my big smiles, and she comes and joins us for an hour. So this is awesome. Oh, Mary's here too. Mary's in San Diego, so she's also keeping it classy. So there we go. This is great. So what we thought we'd do today is just let Jen tell you a little bit about who she is, a little bit about what's happening with Instagram and why people like Jay Bear are actually saying that Instagram sooner or later will actually be bigger than Facebook. So we said the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And why? Obviously, let's talk about why the attention's in Instagram, and then if you want to screen share some cool stuff, maybe give everybody a little overview of what's trending in terms of like analytics and all the stuff that you're so good at demonstrating. And then I'd love to do, as I say, a few hot seats. So I already got a couple of hot seats already, and if we have time, then we're just going to do live Q&A with everybody to get into the mindset of the expert of the world. And Patricia's here too. In Washington State. So there you go. Your country.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm so glad so many of you are here. I love it. I love seeing all these faces. It's amazing. So, so really quickly, a little bit about me for those of you who aren't super familiar with me. As we were chatting before we went live, or before we started recording, I am actually Canadian. So for all the Canadians in the house, hello, hello. I do live in San Diego now, where it is gorgeous and sunny and perfect, and I really can't complain. So when it does, drop below 70, I start complaining, and everyone gives me a hard time. But I'm very blessed to live here in San Diego, which is where Social Media Marketing World is, which, as Jonathan was saying, that was where we got to meet this year. I have been doing the Instagram thing for about 5 years. It's something that I fell into. This was not something that I picked out. I was blogging and doing social media trends in general on my blog, and I finally gave in and was like, if I'm going to do this, I need to figure out this whole Instagram thing. And I kind of did it begrudgingly. I wasn't excited about it until I jumped into Instagram, and I fell in love with the platform. I love photography. I love that type of way of creating content, so it was a natural fit for me. But the selling point for me, which if you guys are using Instagram, you probably know, is the community involvement. It's the way you can really build that community around your brand, and the type of engagement that you get on the platform is unlike what you will get on any other platform. It's, like we're all guilty of like the Facebook lurking, where we see people's posts and we don't actually like or comment, because then all of our friends will know we liked and comment. So we just kind of lurk in the background. But on Instagram, people are double tapping and swiping and moving through and watching videos, and they're highly engaged with the content. So you get a much more robust idea of what your audience likes, what they want to connect with, and you can really build that relationship. I've got friends that I go stay with when I travel that I met through a single Instagram post 4 or 5 years ago, and now we're besties. And even this relationship, Jonathan and I met through social media and Instagram and these sorts of things. And I got to go meet his daughter, and she took me on a tour of a super yacht and all these amazing experiences because of Instagram. Like, these are things that, we didn't have access to, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So that was why I fell in love with Instagram. The problem was no one was talking about Instagram marketing. Everything was very superfluous when I jumped into this kind of let's figure out Instagram thing. And I was like, screw it, you guys, I'm going to figure this out as we go. And I started blogging about it in a very kind of test-based way. Like, here, I tried this, here, and this didn't work. And here's an idea of how you could use this. And I started off very tactically in that way. And at this point now, I've written on my own website well over 100 blog posts dedicated to Instagram marketing. I've guest blogged for countless organizations. I have been interviewed on, I don't even know how many podcasts. I've been featured in major publications like Inc., Yahoo Finance, Fox News, Huffington Post, The Verge, all these, I know. The list keeps getting longer. I just came out on Adespresso today. I was quoted on Adespresso today. So it just kind of keeps adding up. And then I was very, very fortunate this year in January to publish Instagram for Business for Dummies, which we got to sign Jonathan's copy at Social Media Marketing World when we took Shoothies. So that was awesome. So it is one of those things where, you know, this evolved very naturally for me. It's something that I'm super passionate about. And I do, you know, as was mentioned, I'm in the pulse of it. So today with a bunch of things, if you were on Instagram, you probably noticed it was hugely buggy. There is a big announcement coming out on June 20th. We don't know what it is, but there is big suspicion that they are going to be launching long-form video for Instagram on June 20th. Right now, Instagram videos cannot be more than 60 seconds on the platform or 15 seconds in stories. Unless you do an Instagram live, that can be up to an hour. But it's being rumored that the big announcement on June 20th is that they are doing long-form video, which ironically is the exact anniversary of when they launched video for Instagram at all. It's actually the anniversary, the exact same date that they launched video originally, which was like 4 years ago, I think. So big changes. And with that announcement, I think they're finally going to announce the number that I have been preaching since January, 1 billion users.
Wow.
The current stat is 800 million. They never announced 900 million, and it's driving me crazy that they haven't announced it because I know they have to have hit that number based on growth trajectory. And I think they just waited, and they're like, screw the 900. We'll just wait till we get to 1 billion. So I have a big suspicion that they will announce that. If they don't, I would be shocked. I would be like, what? Really? You're going to leave me hanging on this still? But yeah, so to the Jay Bear comment, to all of those people saying, you know, like Mari Smith says, and I think actually someone at Facebook said it, but Mari Smith always quotes it and says, Instagram is Facebook's next Facebook. It really is that next big platform. And the fact that they're going to break that 1 billion this year, which they haven't already, is just proof of that type of growth and that direction that the platform really is going.
And also with stories, I mean, they just annihilated Snapchat too, really.
Oh my God, stories are like, and you guys, can I just be legit? I hate stories. as a person, like I hate Snapchat. I absolutely hate Snapchat. I think it's the stupidest thing on the planet. I understand it for business. I understand it for certain generations. I understand it for communication. As a personal user, I hate it. And I really don't like stories either. I've learned to adapt to stories, and I've learned to create stories that align with my brand and my style. But that being said, the only people's stories who I watch are when, like, my friend Mike Alton was over in Paris for a week. And I was like, I want to see everything you're doing in Paris. So I watched his stories because I knew he was posting those stories. I never watch stories. Like, I'm a huge proponent. Trust me, I preach it. I understand how valuable they are. They have 300 million, like, active users just using Instagram stories on a daily basis. I don't even know the number of billions of pieces of content that are being uploaded to Instagram stories. It is hugely valuable to you as a marketing tool. You have to be there if your audience is there. I do create content for my stories. That doesn't necessarily mean that my audience digests it in the same way. My audience on Instagram is definitely more traditional Instagram content. But I do my Instagram Live, which is for stories. And I do post updates. I do my hashtag Tuesday Shoesday, which was what we were talking about at the start of the show as well. So every Tuesday I post what shoes I wore that day because I have a few pairs of shoes, like a lot. And so I always post about my shoes. It's part of my brand. And so there's ways that I've learned to incorporate stories. But it's definitely, if your audience is there and they like that short form content, then it's the place to be. And that is really, in a lot of ways, the direction that they're trying to grow Instagram is with more of that short form content, really appealing to that younger demographic. because Instagram is skewing older. Instagram is still the millennial type platform, but it's skewing considerably older. You're getting much more people over the age of 35 on the platform. It outranks everybody, you know, in that demographic aside from Facebook.
Well,
It's definitely.
We don't have it. I don't think we have anybody under 35. So.
See?
It's interesting.
That's awesome.
Stories, because when you were blogging that day at the event at Disneyland, when you had that behind, was it Mark Bloggers? I mean, you use stories all day, and I love that because you were showing us cool stuff that you don't see, and that was great.
And that's the thing. I will admit, when I do at any event, when I go to any conference, when I go to any event, I Instagram story the crap out of those events. Like, I always tell people, like, I'm literally on stage talking about Instagram stories and Instagram marketing. I'm like, don't judge me on my Instagram stories from this event, because at that event, I'll share like 40 stories. Like, I think for Social Media Marketing World, I shared probably 100 different posts to my Instagram stories over 4 days. Mm-hmm. And normally it's like, nothing, it's crickets. But that's the thing, when I do go to an event, I do show that, like you said, the behind the scenes. So whenever I go to, you know, I'm traveling, I'm going to different places, I do touristy things. It's the lead up to the conference and people I'm meeting. So there's lots of ways that you can incorporate that. To that point, I noticed Don put in a comment saying, what is Instagram stories? How is it different for their social media platform? So
we have some quite newbies
for those of you who don't understand, yeah, let's go back to the basics really quick for you guys. So Instagram, as it is a normal platform, is a visual-based platform. You have to have a photo or a video to upload. You can't just upload a text post. You can't upload a link. It has to be a photo or a video. So the Instagram we all know and love is very curated type content now. It's everything is very structured, and people edit their photos, and it's very strategic, which is amazing. We want that. But what Instagram was 5, 6, 7 years ago was raw. It was instantaneous. It was meant to be, here's a photo of me literally eating a sandwich. Here's a photo of me going to bed. Here's a photo of me brushing my hair. Like, it was so random and raw, but that was how Instagram started. And that was what Snapchat became. So Instagram stories was their way of going back to their roots almost, as well as taking down Snapchat. Because for those of you who don't know, Facebook tried to buy Snapchat years ago, and Snapchat basically said, heck to the no. And so Zuckerberg made it his single-handed mission to take them down. And so that's why they launched Stories, which are also available on Facebook. And they're going to be coming, I think, even to Messenger, and they're coming to WhatsApp and all these things. But stories are short-form content that lasts for 24 hours and then it expires. So if you go to my Instagram account at Jenns_trends, JENNS_trends, you can see up in my profile photo, there's a ring around my profile photo, which means I have current active stories. And if you click on that, you'll go through the stories. So it's totally separate from my regular feed content. It's a completely separate platform. When you log into Instagram, at the top of your feed, there's a whole bunch of bubbles across the top. Those bubbles are everybody that you follow that has current stories. Now, again, they expire after 24 hours. So I upload something at 4 o'clock today. At 4 o'clock tomorrow, it's gone. It doesn't, I can save it. I can choose to do additional things with it. But in terms of that story component, it actually just disappears. So it's meant to be that raw, unfiltered footage again. Now, that doesn't mean to be completely, irrelevant to what you're trying to create. It still has to have a strategy. You still want to have a purpose behind it, and you still want to struggle to get good lighting and good audio and those sorts of things. You don't want to make it, horrible content, but it is much more raw. It is meant to be much more authentic and behind the scenes. And one of the things, if you ask anybody who does stories regularly, the one thing they're always going to tell you is, oh, I love stories because I can just relax and be myself. I don't have to worry about like my brand. And I'm like, okay, but everybody loves you in your stories because you're being that real, raw, authentic person. And then you're this like totally stoic person when you get on the rest of your social media. And there's such a disconnect. So that the stories are that fun, and they show that behind the scenes and that different kind of component that so many of us, don't put out on social media. And that's why they're very valuable. They're great for building that brand, that behind the scenes and a unique perspective of your personal life, or, your weird, quirky personality traits and those sorts of things. So it is definitely, it's a platform within a platform. They're two completely different things. One does not tie to the other. One does not impact the other one. They're it's like having 2 separate Instagram accounts and 2 separate strategies and 2 separate types of content, which can be overwhelming. And to that point, Liliana asked, what is the benefit of a story over regular? So it really, again, it depends on your audience. Again, for me, I get more out of regular feed content, but if your audience is on Instagram stories regularly, if you're getting a ton of engagement there and a lot of views, then that's the advantage, that you have more reach in front of your audience. Instagram stories are faster moving. It's something that people kind of, they tap through. I think photos last 7 seconds, videos are up to 15 seconds. So you don't have a long time to share that, piece of information. But it really comes down to what's the value to your audience. If it's something they want and they want that short form content and they want that behind the scenes and they want that fun, kind of charismatic personality, that's your advantage. If your audience doesn't engage with it and you don't get a lot of views and you're not getting direct messages and that sort of thing in response, then it's not as valuable to you as something in the feed. On that note, if people want to respond or engage with your story, they cannot leave a comment like your regular content. They actually send you a direct message. So if they write a comment, it comes into your inbox as a direct message, which is, again, can be valuable or not. It's valuable if you want to make it a private conversation. Now people send me questions because I post something educational, and now I'm having a whole dialogue with them and I'm scheduling a consultation with them, because they saw something I posted in Instagram story. Hugely valuable. That's $195 an hour. One post just landed me a new client. Great, hugely valuable. But in the same turn, it's something that you have to build up to whether or not that's of value to you.
It's funny. My 20-year-old is taking a digital sabbatical this week off her phone, and she said to me this morning, I said, "How's it going?" She said, "It's okay, Dad, but my FOMO is off the scale." And
yes, absolutely. I totally understand.
Fear of missing out. And especially with stories, if you're not there on the day, they're gone, right? So yeah, no, for sure.
Absolutely. So Liliana also asked,
between a personal page and a business page. So maybe if you want to just screen share your business page and just show people a little bit of a roadmap of what you get on business that you don't get on personal, that would be super awesome.
Let me see if, because I don't get as much. Hello. Why? Of course, mine's not even like. Why? See? Why are you doing this today? Instagram's been buggy today, you guys. I'll get it up. Hold on. There we go.
You said that in your
it's one of those. I'm telling you, Instagram. This is all in preparation for June 20th. Instagram legit was having issues today, and it's full blown because of this. And I guarantee you, it's coming on. Okay, so I'm going to do screen share, and I'm going to do this one. Okay.
Awesome.
So you guys should be able to see that now. Okay, so I am a business profile, and you can't see everything from this one specifically in terms of all the business features. But as a business account, you can't, you don't get any of the call to action buttons. So you know what I'm going to do? Let's do this. I'm going to stop the sharing. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you guys on my phone right up to the camera, because that'll be so much easier for me to show you what it actually looks like. Because it is very different from personal to business, and then it's very different from mobile to desktop. So, okay, so here we go. So nice and close to the screen. Make sure you can see my screen on your computers. So there's my profile photo and my information, and my bio looks basically just like you would get on any other bio. But you notice there's that gray kind of course, now it's going to bleep out. I've got this kind of gray called consulting agency underneath my name. That is a title that is actually linked through my Facebook page. When I linked to my profile, that came up as what I labeled my Facebook page. When you upgrade to a business profile on Instagram, you have to link to your Facebook business page. That's the requirement. So that title comes with whatever you have your Facebook page labeled as. So the other thing that is really important, see that big blue button that says email?
Yeah.
That is a call to action button. You can have 3 call to action buttons on your profile. You can have call, text, email, directions, and now if you have a business that uses a variety of things, like if you use Grubhub as a restaurant, if you use Resy to book reservations, if you use Eventbrite when you host events, there's now integration for call to action buttons with those platforms as well. So you could actually have a button on here that says get tickets or book or reserve or that sort of thing. So you can actually now have people book a reservation or order their food through Grubhub right from your Instagram profile. So when they click on that button, it opens up that Grubhub app. They go through, they pick out what they want, they order it, but it all started through Instagram. So that is only available to business profiles. And I'm not joking. I get at least a dozen on average emails a week that come from Instagram, that people have reached out to me from Instagram saying, hey, I saw this. Hey, you know, I need your help on this. Hey, can I hire you? Hey, do you want to come speak at my event? I get that on the regular because I have the email button enabled. That is how you close deals on Instagram. You need those buttons, and those are only available to the business profiles. The other super fun thing, up in the very top corner, I can see if you can get it in focus. There's a little bar graph button. It's this middle button right here in the very top, and that's your insights. And it's actually going to give you all of your analytics and all of your details for your account. Which is only available, again, to the business profile. You can see so much information. You can go to jenstrends.com and just type in Instagram analytics or Instagram insights, and you can get all the blog posts that I've written on this. This was the topic I just covered at Social Media Marketing World. I did my whole talk on Instagram analytics. But you can get so much information on individual post performance. So in addition to when you do that insights button, it gives you all your account info. You can also, for example, so I have this post that went out today talking about a new Instagram feature that rolled out, and beneath it says View Insights. And if I tap on that View Insights, I get an entire list of data of how that post is performing. So I can see the actual reach of that post. I can see how many people clicked. I had 2 people click to my website because of that post, and that post did not tell people to go to my website. It did not have any call to action to go click on any link in my bio, but I had 2 people come to my website, and I had 1 person email me today. I posted this morning. So already today I've generated 2 website clicks and an email from a post about a new Instagram feature that talked nothing about a call to action to contact me. So whereas I haven't even looked at these analytics, so I don't even know what this is going to look like. So I had a post that went out for a blog post notification which said, click on the link in my bio. That one generated 89 profile visits and 76 website clicks. So I drove 76 people to my website from 1 blog post notification, which that one had 173 likes and 76 people clicked to my website. So that's a pretty high conversion for the number of people that liked the post, the number of people that actually went through to my blog post to read that on my site. So those are the kind of things that you can actually get from those Instagram analytics, which again, only for the business profile. To Jeanette's question, it does not cost a penny. It is completely free. Everything on Instagram in that way is free. I know, right? If you want to pay for ads, of course, you can do ads, and that's going to cost you money to run any ads. But just to upgrade, no cost. You just need a Facebook business page, and then you just need to go through 2 or 3 steps. Super easy. You don't need to wait for an invitation. You can go to edit profile and scroll down and choose upgrade to business profile or something to that effect. They change what the button says at different times. 3 or 4 steps, boom, you're done. You're activated within a matter of like 5 minutes. It's super easy. There's no negative impact on the algorithm. Facebook and Instagram are not the same thing. I talk about this a lot. I get a little passionate about it. But they're not the same thing. So upgrading to a business profile has absolutely no negative impact on the algorithm. Will that change in the future? Duh, of course. As they grow and get more expansive, yes, Instagram will have to do some sort of redirect in terms of reach capabilities for business profiles. But I've had my business profile for well over a year. I've had absolutely no negative impact, and I've only had positive results for all those call to action buttons and having those analytics and all that information. So like, if you're not, I want you by the time this call is over to run over and upgrade to a business profile. I will consider this mission successful if you guys all do that.
Right. Yes. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's totally the way to do it. And the advertising piece that comes with it too is to promote posts is fantastic. And in fact, Instagram is now telling you which posts to promote based on the traffic that they're getting already, right?
Yeah, they'll just like Facebook. They'll say you have a high performing post. Do you want to promote this one? Of course, they're doing that because they want your money. They always want you to advertise. So of course they're going to tell you, hey, this is a high performing post. But yeah, absolutely. If you want to put money behind it, you can. And it's just like Facebook. You can either boost the post directly from your Instagram profile from what you already have posted, or you can create an ad separately within your Facebook Business Manager, Ads Manager, Power Editor, any of those various editors available in the Facebook world.
Totally. The other thing that I really love about Instagram is that it's the Insta piece. And sometimes, with all these stories that you can add pictures from your camera roll and longer form videos, it's getting a little bit less Insta. But what I really say to people is, why should I be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter? It's like Instagram is like happening right now. You're actually seeing Jen do this with her feet because she's got denim shoes on. It's today, and I think that's really, that's one of the big pieces. It's like, it's real. It's behind the scenes. It's what's happening. So you might have one polished post, and then the stories give that whole background of what's going on, right?
Absolutely. And there's so many ways to do that integration. Like you said, let's say I go to an event and I post a beautiful photo on my Instagram, and it's well edited and it's got good lighting and I have a great caption, and I say, for all the behind the scenes, go follow my stories. In which case, then when you go to my stories, you're getting, like you said, that raw, instantaneous, and it may be an hour or two after the fact, but it is usually pretty instantaneous. It's something that's literally happening at that moment. If you're doing Instagram Live, oh, it's live. It's like this. Like, there's nothing you can do about it because it's live. And you can choose to share your live videos for up to 24 hours after the fact. You can save your live video to your camera roll. So if you want to do an Instagram Live, let's say you go live for 20 minutes, when you end the broadcast, you have to hit save immediately afterwards and before you share it or delete it. Because once you share it, you can't go back and save it. But you can choose to save it. It saves it to your camera roll, which at that point, then you can repurpose that. Now you can now go and you can upload it to your YouTube channel. You can go and upload that and put it in a blog post or send it out to your email newsletter. You can go and put it on Facebook, whatever it is. So you can repurpose that live video. So there's a lot of ways that you can do cross promotion, not only within Instagram back and forth, but across other platforms as well.
Questions are flying at you, my friend.
I love it. That's why we're here.
That's exactly why we're here.
So Dory said, what's the difference between Instagram Live and Facebook Live? Are they the same thing? So essentially, yes. They're both live. It's just one's on Facebook, one's on Instagram. It's other than that, so Facebook Live, you can go longer. I don't know how long you can go on Facebook Live, but I think you can go longer. I want to say it's because Instagram Live caps you at 1 hour, and at 59 minutes and like 30 seconds, it's almost like that horrible Oscar music that just starts playing. It doesn't really play music, but a timer comes up on the screen that says you have 30 seconds left, which really means you have 20 because there's a lag in video time. So you really don't have 30 seconds. And all of a sudden, and I know this because it's happened to me on more times than I can count. If you guys haven't figured out, I can talk all day about this. So cutting it off at like an hour, I'm sitting there going like, oh, I gotta go. Okay, bye. Don't forget to buy the book. Okay, I'll see you next time. And I'm rushing to get to the end of my show because I will get cut off. But other than that, they're essentially the same thing. Facebook Live lives on forever on Facebook. Instagram Live, obviously, as part of stories, does not live on forever. Like I said, you can choose to share it and it'll stay active for 24 hours. But after that, it disappears. And once it's gone, it's gone. It doesn't live on your profile in that way. So there are some differences, but essentially it's, comments are popping in just like you would see Facebook comments. You see comments pop in on your Instagram Live and people chime in and ask questions and they can like your post and send up hearts and all that kind of stuff. So it's very interactive. I personally love me some Instagram Live. I'm there every other Wednesday and I love it. It's huge for my brand and my way of connecting with my audience. I usually go for an hour. I do webinar style every other week. But if it's something where you want to do a live Q&A, if it's something where you want to do behind the scenes or a product launch or any of those sorts of things, you can go anywhere from, as long as you go live for at least 10 minutes, you guys, and that applies to any live video because just like on Facebook or any other platform, even Periscope or YouTube, when you go live, if you haven't told people in advance that you're going live, they don't know that you're going live. So you need to give them time to show up and get a notification that you've gone live. Instagram will push notifications if people have that either A, enabled, or B, follow you. They will push notifications that you're going live. So that can kind of help drive some traffic. But you do want to be on live for at least 10 minutes to get the maximum potential views out of it.
Yeah. So, Jen, I'm going to hold the questions for a little bit because I wanted to these hot seats to show people, what accounts are in action. And Tyler's sitting there. The factory closed, and he's probably the last man in there apart from the cleaner.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to screen share.
Yeah, perfect.
And pull up his account. So we have it up here. Okay.
Perfect.
So we have the dynamic architectural. And Tyler, if you want to come off mute and participate in the conversation, you are more than welcome to. I'd love to have your participation and everything. So first of all, and again, this is looking at the desktop version, which does look a little bit different. But yes, he has stories. So he has that colored ring around his logo, which means he is actively using stories. And something we didn't talk about is he's actually got those bubbles between the bio and the first set of photos. Those are highlights, which actually allows you to archive any story you've created. You can actually go back in the archive and actually put into a branded or categorized highlight. And you can have, I don't even know what the limit is. I tried to max it up, and I think I got to 27, and I was still able to add more highlights, so I just stopped trying. So you can add plenty of these. Best to put them into categories, much like Tyler has done here. So he has one for wood and one for bronze and one for steel and aluminum, and then one for our village, probably a bit more specific branding, I'm assuming, right, Tyler? Like your business and your people and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's kind of a look at the building and stuff like that.
Perfect. Okay. So, so the first three photos, like I said, if you come to this and this is what you're looking at, if someone comes to your profile, this is essentially what they're going to see. First three photos, the two, so we've got this one here and this one here, are great photos. Here's one of the things to know about Instagram. People love architectural design. They love lines and angles and unique perspectives and that sort of stuff. So both of these photos play into that, which is a good thing to do when you have anything for Instagram type content. Other ways you can enhance this are to try different angles. So try shooting like from the second floor down to the first floor. Get down, literally put your camera on the tile floor so that the lines of the tile or the hardwood are like overly accentuated as you see those lines go deep into the vanishing point of the photo, that sort of thing. So there's lots of ways you can play with that when you're looking at this kind of content. This one here is an album. So if you guys look at it, and I know that because it has this little icon up here that shows it's multi-page. So you know it's an album, which means that you can have up to 10 posts. And so it has this little arrow. So he's giving us, and he says, swipe for a quick video tour. So you've got, this is obviously, I'm assuming your warehouse and sort of thing. And so he's got a little video here to give the behind the scenes. So again, adding some personalization, who they are, what they do. That being said, in complete honesty and transparency, Tyler, because I don't like to pull punches, this is not the prettiest of photos. Mm-hmm. It's obvious. I mean, you got 60 likes, which is, it looks like, well, it's probably not maybe necessarily average, but it's up there in terms of like regular engagement. So it's not a poor performing post, but just because of the type of lighting and the busyness of the photo, it's not visually appealing by Instagram standards. And this is hard in your line of work to always get something that's visually appealing, because it's like, hey, it's a warehouse, it's the workshop, it's factory equipment. Like, what do you want me to do with it to make it pretty? But again, these are things where you could try different angles, like get up really close to a piece of equipment where you have something more as a focal point and you don't see all of the machinery, so it's not as busy. So you can still give that inside peek into something, but make it a little bit more structured. And then, so these types of posts, which, 26, 30, this one's actually got 71, so that's not too bad. 48. When you have these kind of posts, these are very Facebook. Like when people see these types of things with, a kind of one color, a lot of text, it's not very Instagram topical. People don't usually react to that kind of content as well on Instagram. So in a situation like that, sometimes you're trying to, whether you're promoting that you have a blog post or an article out or an update, or in this case you're promoting your learning center, I would look at something where, again, it's a more regular looking photo, and then have a simple text overlay, and then take all of the information that's actually in this and put that in your caption. Because these types of flyer looking posts, the graphical type content, typically perform significantly less on Instagram. People don't usually interact with it as well, which you can see in terms of that type of engagement on these specific posts. Again, this is something where when you dive into your analytics, you can really see, oh, all of my top performing posts have this component. Okay, do more of that. You know, these types of posts don't typically get a lot of engagement. Okay, let's not do that anymore. Again, this one 96, this one 101, lines and design and aesthetic and appeal. So you can see your audience is reacting positively and you're getting the comments. You've got 9, you've got 4. So you're getting more comments on these type of more real type photos and that tie in a bit more to things that are related to like a lifestyle or something people can relate to. This one too, so you've got, see, and I would have done this as your cover photo. I would have done this one as the first photo.
Tyler, why are you sharing your dad's house?
What's that?
Why are you sharing your dad's house?
I wish that was my dad's house.
And that's like, this photo is gorgeous, but this one is eye-catching. Like for an Instagram standard, this photo is a better photo. So I would have used that one as the first photo. But again, it's, when it comes down to like in general, these types of photos perform well. If you've got something that you've got these multiple components, again, put it in an album, tell people to swipe, get that kind of content. You know, one like this where you have, you know, the 2 different styles, which yes, legit hashtag patio goals. But again, it's when you have these 2 images, this starts to look very Facebook where they're split out. Even like the before and after type things, it's so much better if you can put a great after photo and then say swipe to see the whole project. And then the second image is like everything down to the studs. And then the third image is, you know, with a little bit of, you know, maybe the sheetrock is up and a little bit of the work is done. And then you kind of take them through 4 or 5 photos back to the finished product. So you always want to give them the single best photo up front and then encourage them to swipe through. Do you have any questions for me about your content?
There was one question. Remember about stories, Jonathan? I'd asked when you make stories, I noticed maybe a little off topic. The thing I don't like about stories is they're a minute long, and sometimes I like to blabber for more than 30 seconds or a minute. I noticed with some accounts, people, it seems their stories, it just keeps recording and recording. It's still separate segments, but the story keeps going. And now I thought I read somewhere when you get more followers and stuff, there's more little nuts and bolts and features that open up. No?
No, not at all. What they're using is there's an app called Continual, Continuual, I think it's like a WAL. There's another app that's very similar, but Continual is the one that I know of the most. And what Continual does is you actually record your video. And let's say you recorded, you know, 83 seconds of video. What that app does is it cuts it into 15-second segments to upload to Stories, so that it actually plays through as a consecutive video, even though it's in 15-second segments. That's a great tool you can use. Personally, for me, because I'm lazy and I hate using third-party tools, I literally plan out my content to talk to 15-second segments. But what I do is I'll go, like as I'm getting to like the 10-second mark, I go, okay, and then I stop recording. And then I record the next segment. And then and I'll be like, but, and then I'll record the next segment. So I leave that cliffhanger at the end of each of the 10 to 15 second intervals. That way people know there's more to come. Because a lot of times what happens is when we think we have to condense it to 15 seconds, we kind of rush to get to the end of a sentence or the end of a thought. And when you do, people are like, oh, that was the end of it, okay, bye, and they swipe out, not realizing you had 3 or 4 more points to make afterwards. Yeah. So even if you don't use, you can use Continual if you want to use that and keep it all consecutive. It makes it smooth and beautiful and well aligned. Or plan for that short form, you know, bleeps, but lead into each one so that you don't lose people partway through the story.
Question for you on hashtags. Tyler's doing his best to rotate them because we found that when you use the same ones again and again, they suddenly don't work anymore. Does that deem them spammy or something if you keep using the same ones?
No, there's really nothing wrong with using the same ones. And it's not so much that using them is wrong. Like, you want to use your branded one, you want to use it on all of your content. So use that one all the time. But it is one of those things where, like, and if you have niche specific hashtags, like in this case, you know, he's using hashtag dynamic windows, hashtag lift slide doors, hashtag sliding doors, hashtag living spaces. So living spaces is going to be a much more popular hashtag. I don't think I can, let me see if I can pop it open. So it has 53,000. So it's actually not that bad. That's actually, I mean, that's like a moderately popular hashtag. It's not too big. But, you know, using hashtag living spaces in all of your posts isn't going to kill you. It's, you know, and you want to make sure you're using your ones related to dynamic windows and those. And if you're in this content, you are talking about sliding doors. So you want to use those hashtags. That being said, I would recommend you use more, which you have them down here. Good. So things like the luxury windows and those sorts of things, again, those are niche specific. You definitely want to use those in context as long as that's what is in that photo or what's related to your brand. The things like hashtag bronze, hashtag wood, hashtag aluminum, those things have way more like content on them. Those are the ones that get saturated, that if you use them consistently, you'll stop to kind of rank for them because they're just so overly populated with other content that it's just not really going to draw in that kind of results that you want. So those are the ones you kind of want to mix with and play with and be a little bit more varied in those. But yeah, you're doing good hashtag strategy. You've got a range of different hashtags from, you know, your niche specific all the way up to the more popular ones. And I always recommend at least 15 to 20 per post. And so you're definitely hitting that mark with this. So your hashtag strategy is on point.
Good.
That's great feedback. Thank you.
Of course.
That's great. That's
all right. So I'm going to stop sharing on that one so we can talk about some other things.
We have one client. She couldn't make it today. She's actually recording in a private TV sequel for September in Australia. But she's fabulous. Her name is Elisa James, and she has a account. It's called HAPS Voice Pro, which is holistic, acoustic professional coach or something like that. So Eliza's sort of 17 hours time difference from us anyway. She's on the Gold Coast. And so she's trying, but we looked at her analytics, about half of our audience is American and half is Australian. So she's doing her best to try and just get herself out there, given that she's so far away and she's brand new to it. She's only been doing Instagram for about 2 months. So but she couldn't make it, and she wrote me and went, I can't make it, I'm in the studio, but I'd love some advice.
Okay. So you guys are going to go through this with me, and just so you guys know, just like with Tyler's, I literally have not seen any of these posts before. I have no idea. This was all brought, to my attention through case studies. I didn't want to know anything in advance, so I'm literally going through this just like I would the first time I look at any account. I'm going to take you guys through it. So first and foremost, the logo in this one I have a bit of an issue with, in the sense that you can see the Elisa James is visual. But the HAPS Voice Pro is so tiny, and you guys have to understand, on the screen you're looking at, that is small to read. When you look at Instagram and it gets shrunk down to a tiny little itty bitty bubble that is about ½ an inch in diameter at best, it's less than a centimeter in diameter for all of you, metric people, that's illegible. No one's ever going to be able to read that. And even the butterfly in the triangle is going to be so illegible in a tiny little itty bitty profile photo that it's not going to be good branding. So I would actually recommend she does just the triangle with the butterfly, or just the name. What's that?
Would you recommend a logo rather than her face?
I'm sorry, I lost you. The logo?
I'm saying, would you recommend having a logo rather than her face?
Oh, I would rather have her face. To be honest, you guys, people connect with people. They want to see human interaction. They want to see what you look like as a person. So if she can have a great photo with her face, and even if it has the logo imposed on the photo, maybe in the lower quadrant or something like that, so it's got the branding to it, she could absolutely do that. There's a lot of ways that she could definitely spice up that logo. The username.
I believe she's just posted since we started. So if you refresh your screen, apparently there's another post someone just told me.
Oh, really? Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, there is. There you go. Look at that. She did. So I do have an issue with her username, which is the HAPS Voice Pro Coach. I can read that and know that's what it is, probably because I've read and seen that it says HAPS Voice Pro. But that is one very long username that if I don't know, I'm like, is it Is it hap? Is it ha? Is it happy? Like I see voice and then I go, but pro coach. And I'm like, okay, but the haps kind of I'm just in complete honesty.
No, that's great.
Usernames are the hardest thing in the world to read. And I despise reading usernames because I always get them wrong. Anyone who's ever watched my Instagram live knows what a fool I make of myself trying to read people's usernames. So I would recommend doing like haps.voice.procoach or something like that, putting a dot or an underscore in there to make that a little bit more legible. Now, when you do change your username, you're going to choose, it's going to create a new link, a new URL. So you're going to lose a backlink to anything that currently links to this. So I don't always recommend changing your username just willy-nilly, but in a situation like this where people are having a hard time recognizing it as a brand, it may be something you want to do early on before you get too much of a brand established where you then don't want to change your username.
Yep.
Bio is pretty good. Don't have any significant issues with the bio. She's got the link to her blog, which is great. So in terms of the content, at quick glance, again, there is a lot of text, a lot of the text, like this is text in the background, but like the text overlay and the text overlay and the text overlay and the text overlay. Again, this is very Facebook. This looks like content that she probably put on Facebook and was like, I'm going to go put it over here on Instagram. And they don't perform the same. They're different audiences. They're looking for different things versus photos like this, 53 likes versus 13, 21 likes. Dogs always get a lot of likes, 27 likes. This one's, 12 at the sunset. This one, again, people, 41. This one, 16. This one, 10. You can see just in these posts alone, the photos that have real people and a real photo taken in real context get significantly more engagement. And you really need to think about that when you're talking about an Instagram strategy. This photo of the sunset, nothing wrong with that. Just saying, looking at her content without reading any of the captions, just looking at this grid, it's very discombobulated. I literally don't know what she does based on these photos. And I hate to be rude, but like I said, I don't pull punches.
That's what we're asking.
This photo that she just posted that says, is your voice holding you back, gives me a little bit of an insight into who she is and what she does. Great photo, tells me nothing. Your dog tells me nothing. Okay, I'm assuming this is you. I'm getting a feel for you. You've got your personality shining through. You look stunning. You look gorgeous. Okay, something about speaking. Okay, I'm seeing a stage. I start to get an idea, but again, there's nothing in here that is super cohesive to tell me who you are and what you do. If you really want to do these kind of text overlays, take a photo like this and put the text over here on the side of it. So you've got this beautiful photo of you, or you take a profile photo like this and you put a quote underneath it, and then you expand on that in the caption. Anything you can do that really conveys that, so when someone comes to your profile for the first time, they get a really good idea of who you are and what you do. Now, when you open up the captions for any of these posts, that's where, in this case, you're saying my job is to bring the best out of you so you can impact the world. Great. Awesome. That tells me who you are. That tells me what you do. That definitely helps. But again, I need to see that in a way that is visually connected as well. This is great. It actually ties in with her brand. This is almost a perfect example of how I tell people to use sunset photos. I kind of feel like you've been maybe listening to me because I literally almost used this exact same example. But she said, beautiful sunset this morning in the countryside. One more day of tranquility before the excitement of filming begins again. Last leg of this TV shoot now. Sad to end, but so happy to be cast. So she took a sunset photo, which seems irrelevant to her brand, but she has tied it into everything she's doing with work and her brand and her current workload. So that's how you take something that seems irrelevant and with the use of caption, actually tie it in directly to your brand and your messaging. So that is a great example of how to tie them together, which even though on its own, it looks disassociated in the bio or in the profile, if someone saw this in their feed because they're already following her, this caption tells that story and makes it tie in perfectly. So that's a good example.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And then this one, she said, thrilled to be asked to be one of the judges for the new TV show. Also, they're now in Channel 7. So again, she's talking about what she is, what she's doing, that she got cast, that she's part of this show, blah, blah, blah. So again, it's all branding related. In situations like this, you want the caption to really tell a story, take the whole dialogue that much further. Again, this one, she's got the dog, she's tying it in. She goes, Mommy, I'm so glad you have a few days off of filming now because I missed you so much. Again, it's personable, it's relatable. So props, your captions are on point, girl. I love you. No joke. Your captions are there. You're telling the story. You're doing it well. I would just like to see better sourced images, better images that tie in more beautifully to an Instagram context versus these types of overlay and graphical type images. And then keep using the captions you're doing, and you'll be great.
Awesome. Okay, so let's not do any more, because we got 10 minutes or so, and I would love to just let people who are live here sort of glean any answers that they can get out of you. And I also want to do a screenshot before everybody leaves. So I'd love, let's just do that. If everybody could turn the camera on and give me their best smile, because I love to sort of capture these moments for my stuff. So give me 1 second. Oh, no, that did it too fast. 1 sec. Just drag it all over. Rosalie, you're not here. Oh, people are running away now. Mary's here. Yay. That's great. Thank you. So I'm sure there were more questions there. Let's go back.
So yeah, there was a question that came in from Jeanette, and she asked, did you say you can link an Instagram post to a blog post on your website? So not specifically. So you have one link on Instagram, and that is the link in your bio. So what I do is right now, if you go look at my profile, it says bit.ly/JensTrendsBlog, because I use the bit.ly so I can track all my link clicks and all that sort of stuff. But that link goes to my blog page on my website. So whenever I post a new blog post, I say, go click on the link in my bio. So they navigate to my profile and they click on the link to go read that. They go directly to my blog post page, which of course my most recent blog post is the first one on the page. So it's right there for them to find it. So I'm not sending them to a specific blog post, but I'm sending them to that location. Just like if you were doing a campaign, if you had an opt-in, if you were trying to get people to sign up for a webinar, you would say, click on the link in my bio to sign up now. That link would go to that sign up page. And then when that campaign is done, you'd put it back to whatever your default page is. I do warn you guys, make sure that link goes as closely as possible to the end destination. I always use the example, when, ladies probably know more than some of the men in the room, but when we go shopping and you walk into a department store and you see Fabulosity on a mannequin and you want every single piece, but they're like, one's on the 3rd floor, one's in a clearance section, the other one's somewhere tucked back beside the changing rooms. Like, when people have to work that hard for what they want, you don't convert. So if you're saying click on the link in my bio, but all it does is go to your homepage, and they still have to go figure out how to get to your blog, or what blog post was it, or how to find that product page and what color was it. And if they have to do all the work, you are not going to get the conversion. So if you're running a campaign, if you're running them to product pages, if you're running them to blog posts, get them as close to that final destination as possible so that when they get there, they don't have to do any more work. Okay, so, oh no, Pat said her Instagram account, Pat, I think it's a her.
Oh yeah, so Pat ended up last week with these incredible, amazing big boobs and this amazing booty and this thong bikini, and it's like, way to go, Pat! I'm proud of you, girl.
Oh my God. Okay. So first of all, for everybody, if you do not have two-factor authentication turned on, go to Instagram and turn on two-factor authentication. This does not help you after the fact. It helps you before the fact. So you can go to edit profile or in your settings for your profile, and you scroll down and it'll say enable two-factor authentication. You turn that on, you put in a phone number. That way, whenever someone tries to log on from a new device, they need to enter the 6-digit code that was texted to your cell phone. If you have multiple people on your team managing your account, this can be a huge pain in the rear end, because then the person's trying to get in and you're getting the text message, and then you have to tell them the text message, and then it expires, and it's this whole kerfuffle. But it's still worth it because it prevents these sorts of things from happening. It prevents those hacks from taking over. Hacks absolutely do happen. They happen to small accounts, big accounts, and everybody in the middle. There's no preferential treatment. It's not like you're like, oh, I only have 1,000 followers, I have nothing to worry about. Yes, they will hack you just as well. They are willing to take over any audience they can and push their products or whatever it is that they're trying to do. It's a game. It's a black hat game where they go out there and they just try to hack accounts. Like, it's like how, who can hack the most accounts? Like, it's crazy why they do these things, but they do them. So for you, Pat, I am so sorry. The best thing you can do is harass Instagram like nobody's business. Send a complaint, send a contact email, help ticket, contact them, tweet at them, do whatever you can until you're blue in the face. If your account was small enough and you don't care that much and you want to start over again, no offense, the easiest thing will be to start all over again. Even if you do get your account back, it's going to take so much time and you will have lost so many of your audience because they've seen all these, new you photos that are from the hacker that they've already unfollowed you because they're like, what the heck happened to this account? I'm out. So depending on the size of your account and what you had on there, of course, the worst thing is you're going to lose your content. Like all the photos you had on there, if they weren't backed up, you lose all those photos, and that can be devastating. This is a horrible thing to have happen. I don't want to make light of it in any way because I know friends that have gone through this. I know I have people that are huge influencers in various industries, and I'm talking they have hundreds of thousands and millions of followers that have had this happen to them. And fortunately, they usually get Instagram's help to kind of kick in and get things back. But the damage is usually still so significant. And I'm talking they get their account back within, 3 or 4 days, and the damage is done. So it's such an unfortunate situation. If you haven't done it, enable that two-factor authentication. Make sure you have a strong password. Make sure that the password you have isn't something that's, easy to hack. Because again, they're running algorithms trying to pick out what your password is. So the harder it is for them to guess that password, the better it is to protect it. So in terms of getting your account back, you're just going to have to harass Instagram until they either get back to you, which they will not get back to you. What'll happen is all of a sudden you'll get a message or your account will just come back to you. Like they're not going to send you like customer service support and be like, oh, we're so sorry that happened. We're here to help you. No, you literally won't hear from them until it is fixed. So just be persistent if that's something you can do.
Okay. So Susan has a great question about how important is it for your posts to look on brand all the time? I.e. lots of profiles and then every second post in a similar style, that kind of thing. What do you think on that?
On brand, 100% all the time. What on brand means is different for different people. So on brand is, let's take a GoPro, for example. I love GoPro. If you guys are not following GoPro on Instagram, go follow them. Every single photo is 100% user-generated content, meaning not one photo on their Instagram profile came from GoPro as a company. Every single photo was created by one of their customers. And it is the most cohesive, most beautifully curated feed you will ever see. And it's 100% created by strangers. So you can absolutely create brand content even though it's not all the same thing. Branding can come down to using the same style filter on every post so that everything has a similar hue or tone. If you like the whitewashed, airy pastel colors, keep that consistent. Don't all of a sudden post a photo with like bright orange and neon green and then everyone's like, scratch the record, what just happened? We want to keep it consistent in style and tone. If you are a brand that has a very specific type of product that you always share, that kind of thing, then your product is the centerpiece, and maybe you change out the background and the environment in which that product is photographed, but it's consistent with the product always being in the photo. So there's lots of different ways that you can create brand consistency through colors, even just the photography. Like if you're the one that does all the photography, believe it or not, your content is branded because you have a certain photographic eye that nobody else has. And you're going to always take photos with a certain stylistic approach that you subliminally don't even know you're doing, but you are. And that creates a brand style that you may not even be aware of. But if you have 4 different people taking photos and creating that content, it's going to start to look disjointed because one person's 5'6" and one person's 6'2", and they have completely different perspectives when they take a photo. So you just want to find out what that brand consistency is for you. And then yes, 100% of your content should stay true to that brand styling. You don't have to worry about those ones where people do the here's a text post, like a quote, and then here's like a pretty photo, and then here's like a product photo, and then it rotates, and it's like the whole stylized, charts and graphs type, if you want to do it, go for it, but that is so restrictive because now it's like you have to have your content so aligned that if you go off one, the whole mix is messed up. That's too much work for me. But if you like it, go for it. You can absolutely use different tools. Planoly is great for that. That allows you to actually go in and plan out your content so you can put that grid format in there and choose what piece will go in what square basically so you can keep your content in that well-organized way. There's lots of tools out there to, kind of help with that. Planoly is a great one. But yeah, you don't need to go that far in terms of a brand styling.
Okay. So perhaps one last question, because we're just on the top of the hour and I want to respect your time. What's your recommendation right now for building a following? Because I know like you have 16,000 people follow you and you follow 500. And I know we've had the conversation before. So you follow people all the time, right?
So follow the people that you want to follow. This is your Instagram account. Do not follow everybody who follows you, because you will go crazy. No one wants to see that content. Just because your customer follows you doesn't mean you want to see their naked baby photos, doesn't mean you want to see their vacation photos, doesn't mean you want to see their horrible food photos. So there is no need to follow every single person who follows you. Follow the people who you find entertaining, educational, celebrities, friends, family, brands that you like, people that are inspirational to you, other brands that are in your industry that you want to stalk and see what they're doing, whether it's good or bad. Whatever it is, choose to follow who you want to follow. I used to follow 800 people. Even that was too much for me to manage. Even at the 500 or whatever that I follow, I still can't see everybody's content. I just do not have enough time in the world to see enough content that's being created by 500 people. So follow as many as is comfortable for you, where you feel like you're seeing the things you want to see. And don't be afraid to unfollow people. Some people get a little, butthurt about the whole situation, but it's really not that big of a deal, people. It's Instagram. So don't be afraid to go in and unfollow people if they're not posting the kind of content you want. But in terms of building your brand, you definitely want to use the hashtag strategies. Again, look at jenstrends.com, and I have multiple blog posts that talk about hashtag strategies that you definitely want to go look at in terms of my specific recipe for that. You want to use contests. So do a giveaway or that sort of thing, where the requirement to enter is 1, they have to like your page or your account, and 2, they have to tag 2 friends in the comments below. Your prize should be relevant to your business. So for example, maybe it's an hour consultation with you if you are a service provider. Maybe it's a free piece of product. Maybe it's a discount or something like that on a larger purchase type item. But what happens is now I go, hey, I want to win that prize, so I'm going to tag my 2 friends. And then of those 2 friends, they both go, hey, that's a cool prize. I want to win that. So then they have to like your account, and then they have to tag 2 friends. So you get exponential growth. The first time you do this, you may get 10 followers. That's okay. The second time you do it, you might get 20. It's not going to be all of a sudden you have 10,000 followers overnight, but it's a way to get good targeted growth really consistently. Run these, once a month, once a quarter, whatever is convenient and comfortable for you to manage. The other thing to do related to hashtags is to follow hashtags related to your target audience. Meaning, for me, I follow and stalk the crap out of every hashtag related to a social media conference, because my target clients need social media strategy, and they are at social media conferences trying to learn how to manage social media. So when social media camp was going on, for example, in Victoria back in May, I would go through and I would just go to that hashtag and I would like every single piece of content that showed up on that hashtag that people were posting from the conference. I'm not at the conference. I'm not there, but I'm liking all their content. And guess what? I get a bunch of new followers because I show up in all their notifications. I didn't harass them. I didn't ask for a follow. I didn't blatantly interrupt their feed with a bunch of my own stuff. I didn't send them direct messages bugging them. I just liked their content showing up in their notifications, and they go, hey, who's this Jen's Trends that liked all my posts? Oh, look, she does Instagram training. Oh, I should follow her. And so I get a bunch of really good targeted followers. Again, this is not going to be exponential growth, but it's really good targeted to your audience. So, you have to find out where your audience, I know that that's where my audience is. I go after the social media conferences. You can look at conferences, events, trade shows, any places like that where your audience is potentially hanging out. Hobbies, if your audience is something that's more of an individual, personal level, if you're more product-based, what are their hobbies? What are they doing where they're hanging out on hashtags and creating content? Do they have kids? Do they have pets? Those sorts of things. Find those hashtags that are geographically located if you're a local business, and really just get in there and start engaging with that content, and you can grow your following that way.
That's awesome. My goodness, you never stop for breath. I
literally don't. I always tell people I could do this for 6 hours. I'll just go get the bottle of wine and we'll just keep going. It's all good. I got all night.
Right. Here you go. You like this? Okay. What about this then?
There you go. Yes. Oh my gosh. Where on earth did you get that?
In Canada.
That is amazing. Okay, seriously, I'm taking a photo. Like, put it back up. I want to get a photo of that because that's just too priceless.
Hang on.
You gotta get where there's no like.
There you go.
Okay, I think I got it. Cool.
If not, I'll send it to you.
That is amazing.
All right.
That's so awesome. But thank you guys, honestly, all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying on. Feel free to go hit me up over on Instagram at JENNS_trends. Send me a direct message. Send me an email. Let me know you were here in the inside or in the inner circle. If you have questions that we didn't answer, or if you're watching this on the replay because you weren't able to watch live because you're in another time zone, or you have kids and lives that mean you can't hang out with me at this time of day, send me an email, send me a direct message. I will answer your questions because I genuinely love this group. I love what Jonathan does for you guys, and I want to help any way I can.
You're amazing. I also put a link to Jen's Instagram, and I also put a link to Jen's book. So, yes, it's all there. Fantastic. Thank you, my friend. And look at all these kisses.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. I love it. Thank you, guys.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And it's recorded, so in an hour or so, it'll be in your Inner Circle group, and you can rewatch it or share it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and thank you for the hot seats. And Jen, thank you once again. You're an angel.
Of course. Anytime. I'll come back anytime. Thanks, you guys.
I'm looking forward to your Instagram story when you move into your new apartment.
Oh, I know. I can't wait. So for those of you who don't know, on the back end, I'm moving at the start of next month, and I got a condo. It's a huge deal. It's in like a little tiny neighborhood where I want my daughter to go to school. So it's like this huge thing for me. And so I posted about it, and so Jonathan was encouraging me and congratulating me and all that kind of fun stuff. So we were chatting about it. But yes, there will be lots of stories when I get to move in and share all that stuff, and I get to decorate it. The apartment I've lived in for this place is 2 years. I literally have no living room furniture because I'm like, I'm not going to put any furniture in this place. I know I'm not staying. So I literally have a love seat. That's it. I have this massive living room, and I literally have no furniture. Like, if people come over, there's no place to sit because I'm like, why bother buying furniture? So I get to go buy furniture and like decorate the new place. So yes, there'll be lots of stories about it.
Have fun. Yeah.
And you could always try your influencer marketing hat and see if you can get some store to put some stuff in, all right?
I don't think that hasn't crossed my mind. I was like, okay, what little vintage store can I find that will, play along with me on this and donate some furniture to the Decorate Jen's House Fund?
Well, this has helped. So again, thank you for your time. I don't want to abuse it, but thanks everybody for joining us. And Anne's already bought your book. There you go.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, you guys. I love it. Thanks, Anne.
I'm gonna end.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.